The Caledonia Warriors picked up a win over Chatfield, 27-0 last Friday night. Chatting about it with head coach Carl Fruechte. And coach, in the synopsis of this game, in my mind, you got to start on the defensive side of the ball. The Gophers came in putting 40 at least in every one of their first 5 games, and you guys held them off the scoreboard. How were you able to do that?
Well, I know I sound like a broken record, Darren, but again, our kids are really trusting each other. Coach Schrader, Coach Knutson, Coach Wade are doing a great job with the game plan. We're trusting one another and making sure that we're accountable for our gaps, and we're just trying to play fast and physical, keep it simple, don't get too complicated. I'm just a big believer in high school kids communicating and making sure we're on the same page. So, we feel very fortunate. They're an outstanding football team. They got very good athletes, and God willing, we get there the next time. We know it's going to be a much tougher challenge.
And you had 4 takeaways defensively in that game. Obviously, they played a big factor in the game. How were you able to take the ball away from a team that usually takes care of it pretty darn well?
Yeah, again, in my paranoid brain, right? What if it was the other way around? So yeah, again, if we're fortunate enough to play them the next time, we're not counting on turnovers, right? We'd like to have some, and so would Jeff, right? So, we're just rallying to the ball like we always talk about. Everybody get to the football, take your gaps, do what you're supposed to do. Lewis made a real nice pick. He made a heck of a play, and the fumbles, you just got to rally to the ball and be ready to pounce on it, to be real honest, Darren.
And looking at the stat sheet in that game, I noticed they held you to just over 200 yards of total offense. But was that little bit of the case of the field position that those turnovers gave you?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, that's a great question, Darren. Yeah, I presume that would be the right answer. I don't even need to answer that one. You answered it, Darren. Great job. Again, fortunate, right? Again, it doesn't matter if it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The shorter the field, the better, right? And so we felt like offensively we were doing some nice things. As we reflected on it Saturday, there was obviously some things we can do better. I guess I didn't look at those yardage like you did, Darren, but you are correct.
And you got off to a good start, to 7-0 lead at the end of the first quarter and a 20-0 lead at halftime. The good start was something that you didn't have the week before against Dover Iota. Was that a point of emphasis heading into last Friday night?
Yeah, right. It's a point of emphasis every Friday night.
Yeah.
You gotta start fast, and you gotta start strong, and you gotta deal with adversity. And I think the biggest thing to get through to young people right now is that bad things are going to happen. Deal with it, and hit it head on. And it's really been a thing that we've been harping on, and from listening to area coaches that are calling me, and just we're having great conversation. That's a thing all over right now. So yeah, we want to start fast, but again, don't panic if things don't go your way.
And I know we had this conversation last week. Obviously, last week's game got a lot of attention, and that's because there were 2 quality programs getting together. You got a game in Plainview, Elgin, Millville coming up this week, but as we touched on last week, when you're only guaranteed 8 regular season games, every game's a big game. Is that kind of the message heading into this week and really every week?
Well, the last 2 games for us are huge, Darren. We're playing traditional. It's a traditional rival game for us. We used to play for the Hammer against Plainview, Elgin, Millville back when Coach Bill Erkey was there. Bill and I we're still friends, good friends. Don't get me wrong. We don't see each other as much, but I started with a Hammer to try to encourage our kids to be physical. And I don't know, after 10 years, Bill was like, maybe we should play for that. And, we did. So it's a big deal to us. We have a lot of respect for the school district of Plainview, Elgin, Millville. They're good in everything, right? And, I don't even know their record, Darren. I could care less about their record. We know that we have a job to do Friday, and if we don't come prepared, we're going to be in trouble. And then La Crescent. La Crescent's a big deal, right? It's the two 11-man schools that play football in Houston County, and Terry's doing a great job there too. And so these last two games are huge for us, Darren, and we've made that very clear to the kids. You know, we got to bring it Friday, or otherwise Plainview's gonna, you just can't look past people. It's just people. It's youth, and I know I sound like a broken record, Darren. I'm sorry, but it's just the way I am.
Well, we'll call it a skipped MP3 here in 2023 terminology, but I digress on that end of things. Looking at Plainview, Elgin, Millville on film, what impresses you the most about them?
Oh, well, the last couple games have been running the straight T, and they've been doing a nice job. They're down a few kids, but we're expecting everybody to be back this Friday. Defensively, they're running that 3-4, and they're trying to change up, their blitz gaps, and we got to make sure that we're solid and we account for them. And our offensive line has to be on the same page. So they got, Plainview, Elgin, Millville always has good athletes, and we got to account for them on every play.
Something right down the wrong pipe there, but defending against that straight T, what challenges does that offense present to you?
Well, it's the misdirection. It's to me, it's in the same family as the wing T. You see flow away, you've got to sit back, and I shouldn't say sit back, but you got to take care of your gap, because all of a sudden they're going to come back. And of course they get so many guys at the point of power, and they just try to outnumber you and just blast a hole. So those are the main things. And then of course they want to catch you on play action pass, and you got to constantly be reminding your safeties or corners, or whatever each school does, to be ready for their tight ends and their H backs, their two up backs coming out in pass routes. And it's all about discipline. You got to be disciplined and trust your brother.
All right, Coach, hopefully you can keep it going this Friday night. Keep your kids healthy. We wish you best of luck.
Thank you, Darren. I appreciate it a lot, sir. Thank you.
Carl Fruechte, head coach of the Caledonia Warriors.